So, we have a Gargantuan Elemental, the Zaratan. And the Gargantuan monster gets D20s for hit dice. AC-wise, we'll go with 21 AC. 15 of those D20s. And then for its stats, we have 30 Strength, 10 Dex, 30 Constitution, 2 Intelligence, 21 Wisdom, and 18 Charisma. And then from there, we have all of the base information out of the way, so we can now move into the skills area. And we see that we have 2 saving throws, so we don't have to worry about modifying that. We do have damage vulnerabilities to Thunder, but because there's only 1 vulnerability, we will skip over that and look at the resistances. And we'll see that we have Cold Fire Lightning and then the standard melee versions. But because it's a CR22, which I will add in now, we can put it in, but we're not going to get any bonuses from the damage resistance. So let's go ahead and throw that in. And when we come down here, we'll see that damage resistances and immunities will only give 1 times the hit points. So there's really no point in putting in damage resistances or trying to calculate that once your monster is over CR16. Back to the skills area, we also have damage immunities to poison, but because it's only 1 condition, we will skip over that as well. And then we move down into the monster traits. So we have Earth-Shaking Movement. As a bonus action, after moving at least 10 feet on the ground, the Zaratan can send a shockwave through the ground. The shockwave deals 100 thunder damage to all structures. If a creature is near a structure that collapses, the creature might be buried. The creature within half the distance of the structure's height must make a dex save. On a failed save, the creature takes 17 bludgeoning damage, is knocked prone, and is trapped in the rubble. So we could, in theory, add in this earth-shaking movement here. Let's go ahead and throw this in and see what happens. So let's see here, 2 of these. We could say, let's put it in heated body for the time being. So that would be 17.5 for 35 total damage there. If we don't need it, we'll just check that off later. On top of that, we also have legendary resistances of 3 uses per day, which is very standard. After that, we do have magic weapons, but there's no effect to that, so we'll move on to Siege Monster, and that just deals double damage to structures. So Siege Monsters as well has no effect on the CR. With that, we will shift back over to the rest of the tool here, and take a look at the action sections for our Zaratan. So we have a multi-attack of 2 attacks, 1 with its bite and 1 with its stomp. And let's see here, what does it have to hit with? It has a 17 to hit, so we'll go ahead and throw that into the attack bonus section. And then we will start working out the bite, stomp, and all that other stuff. So the bite will be 4d8, so we'll go ahead and add that in for the first attack here. And that will be using, 10? So that's obviously strength, for a total of 28 even damage. The next attack will be Stomp, which is 3d10 for 26.5 damage. We have Spit Rock, which is 68 for... No, it's not using strength. What is that using? Dexterity? It's got plus 10 to hit, but it's giving me 31 damage. And then if we add in the strength, that becomes 37, but Spit Rock's average is saying 31. Someone made a boo-boo on this character sheet here. The average should be 37 damage and not 31. Well, we will leave that as it is and move on to Spew Debris. The Zaratan exhales rocky debris in a 90-foot cube. Each creature in the area makes a dex save, taking 33 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful, and then creatures get knocked prone. If we want to use the tool for this as well, we could just say 12d10 because we're doubling it for 2 failed saves. And we are not adding in any modifiers to this because this is a special type of damage that is CR related, so we don't have to worry about that. And yeah, we have our 4 attacks here, which is fantastic. So we can go ahead and add those into the workspace section. Okay. And then our multi-attack will be 1 bite and 1 stomp, which is the first and second attacks, for a total of 54.5 damage on the multi-attack. Alright, now let's take a look at our legendary actions, which we have a lot of, surprisingly enough. So, first off, we have Stomp. The Zaratan makes 1 stomp attack. Alright, if we don't do anything else, we can do 3 stomps, so we'll just take the stomp of 26.5 and multiply that 3 times. giving us 79.5 for the stomp. Otherwise, the next one could be that the Zaratan moves up to its speed for 1. And generally speaking, I would use something like the Orc's aggressive feature, but because aggressive only gives so little DPR based off of what it does, I would just say there's no real effect for that. Moving on, we also have Spit. So the Zaratan uses the Spit Rock ability, which is attack number 3. And then since we have 1 action point left over, I would then use the, not the Bite, but the Stomp attack again for a total of 63.5 there. After that, we have Retract. The Zaratan retracts into its shell. Until it takes the Emerge action, it has resistances to all damage, and it is restrained. For the time being, I'm going to say that Retract has no immediate effect. Revitalize, on the other hand, the Zaratan can use its option only if it's retracted in its shell, regains 52 hit points. The next time it takes a legendary action, it must take its Emerge action. Zaratan emerges from its shell and uses its Spit Rock. It can use this option only if it retracted in its shell. So there's a lot of slow build-up for these, and I really wouldn't worry about anything else besides, more or less, legendary action 1 or 3 for Spit and Stomp. So let's move into calculating the rounds of damage here since we have that and see what we get for the Zaratan from this. And we have, let's see here, round 1 would be the Spit Rock, and then we would want to add in the legendary actions of 79 for a bunch of Stomp attacks. And then rounds 2 and 3, I would do the multi-attack plus the legendary action 1, and then just copy that for round 2. So let's see here. Our Zaratan is supposed to be a CR22, and using the absolute most amount of damage possible, we're looking at a CR23. But I want to see about this earth-shaking movement. Let's take that off from the monster traits here and see what happens. So let's watch the green here and see if this modifies it at all. It does. Okay. So it's not necessarily certain that your players are going to be within structures enough to deal them damage. And if that's the case, then our Zaratan is evenly rated. And I would even suggest that it is indeed an evenly rated monster at this point.